I do believe that at some point this year, the Seattle Mariners will play a normal baseball game. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome in to the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. The Mariners win the series, finish up a really good road trip. They defeat the Rangers 6-4. They improved to 43-40 on the season. They now open what I believe is a 2-game lead in the American League wild card race. Before I go any further, the three big ones: like the video, subscribe if you're new or lurking. I'm 10 subs away from 4,800. And don't forget to comment your thoughts on the team and on the game down below. The range of emotions with this team every day is just different. It's why I didn't want to go in. Yesterday's game made me want to rant about this team. I was ready to just go off, but I'm like, they win tomorrow. I mean, they had a 6-4 road trip. They're 10-6 in their last 16 games against teams that are not great, but Cleveland, Boston, Texas, Minnesota. The Cubs are good. Are all teams that are competitive enough to that are teams that are chasing you. They're teams that can beat you. So they're not playing terrible baseball here. They just seem to, I don't know, find that. Only the Mariners could play decent baseball, but still find a way to like drive us crazy. It is what they do. But a nice win today. Boy, there was some moments in this one. There was some head scratching stuff. It wouldn't be a Mariners game without it. There were some really good performances. Two quick shout outs we talked about on Friday. Master Boney and Bizardo deserve the shout outs. Today, Mitch Garver. And how about Trent Thornton? I've given Thornton a lot of guff, but he stepped up today when he was a huge reason the Mariners won this baseball game today. They conclude a good road trip. Like I said, I think they have a 2-game lead in the wild card race. Not a lot that we know that could be gone by Tuesday for all we know. But it's also not nothing either. We're over halfway through the season. All the teams chasing the Mariners are very mediocre. Mariners might be mediocre as well. I'm not sure where they are on the scale, to be perfectly honest. Some days I think they're great. Some days I think they're not. That's probably mediocre. But every team chasing them has their own brand of mediocre. I do think the Mariners are potentially the best of that mediocre group. They also have the pieces to add some They also have the chips, I should say, to add some pieces at the deadline. If you had to, life on the line, Jay, do you think this team makes the postseason? I would say yes right now. I've kind of danced around it a little bit, but I do think they get in. I look at the teams chasing them. I look at the teams around them, and nobody's great. Now, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if it's going to be like some 84-win team that just sneaks in a very mediocre American League, or if they can get hot and maybe be a team that is a legitimate threat to make some noise in the playoffs. So there is different levels of getting into the dance. But I do think right now, always subject to change, but I would be willing to say they get in. And especially if the starting staff can get rolling a little bit, because it's kind of held the team back. The offense has been inconsistent, but it's been good enough it's going to have frustrations. It just is what it is. I think if the staff can get back locked in, which I don't see any reason it can't. There's no reason Logan Gilbert's not going to be good. I think Kirby's going to get better. Maybe you add a starting pitcher at the deadline. I think that's entirely possible. I'd still be locked in on looking at like an Andrew Haney, someone like that. Maybe another bullpen piece. But anyways, we're getting off topic a little bit. Let's talk about the game today and a nice W for the team in a game that I did not think they were going to win. Just the way it started, they get down 1-0. Couldn't find anything going against Jack Leiter, who has good stuff, but hasn't been great this year. Then against Lats, they couldn't really get anything going. They finally take the lead in the 10th inning, a 2-run lead, what we've been looking for in extra innings. I will say shout out to the offense in extra innings. I've criticized them for not coming through in extra innings, and they did so today. They take that 2-run lead. We'll talk about that 10th inning. And you're going, okay, like now the ghost runner doesn't matter. You just need to get the batters out. Then Corey Seager homers when he probably should have been intentionally walked. I mean, just kind of a mess there. And then they find a way in the 12th inning, thanks in large part to Mitch Garver in the big game that he had. And then, like I said, Trent Thornton really able to lock it down today. Some interesting plays in this game to talk about for sure. Let's get into the box score and then I'll let's talk about it first, because weird game, right? To be honest, in the 10th inning. So the Mariners, let's go to the play-by-play here because I don't want to get kind of mixed up here and get it wrong. So let's go to all plays. Let's go to the 10th because it was pretty boring. Oh, by 3 extra inning games, by the way. Can't believe I haven't talked about that. The first series in baseball, I think, since 2015 that had all 3 games go into extra innings. The Mariners played, 12, 10, 22, 34 innings of baseball this weekend. Not exactly what you're hoping for in the middle of a 17 game and 17-day stretch. You'd prefer some 9-inning games in there. But if you win them, you can breathe a little bit easier, right? Had you lost them, they'd be pretty devastating. But the fact that you're able to pull out two of the 3 extra inning games is really, really important. So that's crazy that all 3 games went into extras. You could kind of feel it once the Mariners tied this game in the 6th. It was just destined to be another long one. But I will say, man, you wish the team was off tomorrow for sure. Okay, 10th inning here. Let's see. Let's get there. Okay, so Cal Raleigh was intentionally walked. Luke Raley had the sacrifice bunt, which, I mean, do the Rangers not have a pitcher that isn't a Gold Glove PFP player? Because Luke Jackson now twice in 3 days made incredible plays. Thought Raley was going to get an infield hit on that. Then they walked Rosarena intentionally. Solano singled. Julio scored easily. Cal was out at home. I don't know why he didn't slide, number one. I don't know if no one just got there to tell him to get down. Second of all, he was safe. He was safe on the plate. Don't blame the ump too much. The way it was angled, I thought he was out too, but he was safe. The Mariners didn't have a challenge, right? Because they challenged the Ozuna stolen base, I think, in the 9th or 8th inning. I don't remember. I think it was the 9th inning. Justifiable challenge, I thought at the time, right? It was close enough that, if Young just got him, the winning runs at second base. I do think it was worth that challenge to take a look at that. Why did the Mariners not ask the umpiring crew for a crew review? Because you can do the crew chief can initiate a review on that. I don't know why they didn't ask. And normally when coaching staffs ask, they are granted that review, and it was close enough. So I have no idea, unless they did and it got denied, but I highly doubt it did. That's something they've got to be better on, because Cal was safe on that. And that's a big difference there, because it's 3-1, bases loaded, 1 out. And the next batter, Mitch Garver, singled, scored Randy. It could have scored 2 maybe, because Cal would have scored easily. Randy's got pretty decent speed. That might have been 5-1 with 1 out, or at least 4-1 with 1 out, then Solano at third. So that play probably cost you 2 runs, to be honest. So I didn't really get the idea of not challenging that play there, or of not asking for a review. And if they did ask for a review, massive, massive shame on Major League Baseball for not looking at that, because Cal was safe on that play. Just thought I'd mention that there. Okay, bottom of the 10th inning. Josh Smith grounds out. Miraculously, they got Josh Smith out. Vargas falls behind Corey Seager 3-0. I get there's this adage of you don't put, because Smith would have been, no, Seager was not the go-ahead run. He was the tying run. I don't know. Either way, don't put the tying run, or don't, put the winning run on, or whatever it is. I know Seager wasn't the winning run. I totally butchered that, because in my head, for some reason, he was the tying run. I'd rather have Semien beat me. If Semien goes deep there, so be it. He's a better candidate for a double play. He hasn't been as hot this series. Seager's swinging the bat really well, homered in all 3 games of this series. You have the lefty-righty with Vargas. You were already behind 3-0. I get you came back, made it 3-1. Listen, you don't have to intentionally maybe walk him, but man, throwing in the dirt, and if he chases, great. And maybe that was the intention, and Vargas just didn't get it there. But man, you could just feel that, right? You just knew Seager was going to do something in this game. Usually when guys are on streaks like that, they tend to homer in each game. It just feels like it, right? Cal does the same thing when he's on. Just had a bad feeling there. I would have put Seager on. It would have been first and third with 1 out. Semien, the next batter, grounded out to third. Now, we don't know how it would have played out with runners on, to be fair, but that could have easily been a double play ball. At worst, it would have been 3-2. Tying run at second, or tying run at first with 2 down for Adolis Garcia, who really struggled in this series and has been struggling overall. I just would have put Seager on. I don't really get that there. I'm sure it came down to a tying run issue, but Semien just hasn't been as good. He's a bigger ground ball candidate there. I didn't like that call there to not just put Seager on. Luckily, it didn't cost them. The 11th inning, JP bunted, and again, another great play by the Rangers defense. Mariners didn't score, and then Thornton was incredible in the bottom of the 11th. Then in the 12th, Randy had the single to start it out. Solano grounded out softly. Thought Josh Young could have come home with the ball, but I think he got kind of caught in his glove That allowed Luke Raley to score, and then Garver hits the big home run, and the rest is history. Now, obviously, Thornton pitching to Seager was fine in the bottom half of the inning because even if Seager homer, it would have been 6-5. So there was no issue there with Thornton pitching to him because his run really didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, I thought that was a mistake there by Dan. I thought they should have asked for a review on the Cal Raleigh hit. And then I think Ben Williamson batted in the 10th inning there when it was 3-1 with the bases loaded. I get it. You're up. You want to keep William in for defensive purposes, but I might have had Polanco hit there or Mastroboni. They've just been swinging the bat a little bit better than Williamson. So I might have had them go up there and see if you can really break that game open there. Because then if you do get the hit, you can put Mastroboni at third, and I think you'll be okay. And I get it, right? Especially when you have the lead late, you'd rather play for defense a little bit. But I don't think Mastroboni's that big of a drop-off where you wouldn't mind getting Polanco or Mastroboni's bats in there. So just kind of my take on how that extra innings went. Let's go ahead and get into the box score. Luis Castillo, I thought a gutsy performance tonight for Castillo. I thought he threw the ball really well. Not like his best outing ever, but he threw 106 pitches and in a start when they needed it. Now, of course, the game goes 12 innings, so it almost ends up not being as valuable. It's the equivalent of going 3 innings in a 9-inning game. That's obviously not Castillo's fault. He goes 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 run. It was earned 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Just a really solid performance for Castillo, and they needed it. He has struggled on the road this year. Thought he stepped up and threw the ball really well today. There was some hard contact, but it was that veteran start we talk about where it's just going out there, knowing your team needs at least 6 innings today and giving it to him. So I think Castillo deserves a lot of credit for the game he pitched today. I think that's the definition of a gutsy performance from Luis. Also, the Mariners won in the teal uniforms, first time this year, by the way. Casey Legumina, I thought, threw the ball really well, 2 shutout innings with 2 strikeouts. He was big in this series, low-key, 3 shutout innings for him. The bullpen, again, solid job today without Spire, Brash, and Munoz in this game. Your best 3 relievers, they got the job done. Bullpen was really, really good in this game. Bizzardo with another shutout inning. Bizzardo's now in the circle of trust. Bizzardo has reached it for me where he's there to me with Brash. Well, he's not quite Brash Munoz, but he's in that group. For me, it's now Vargas, Spire, Brash, Bizzardo, Munoz. He is now in that group. He has regained the trust from me. I mean, he'd already kind of done it, but now it's not even like, ooh, Bizzardo. I'm like, okay, good. Phew, Bizzardo's coming in. I'm kind of at that point now. He threw the ball well. I mean, Vargas, the fact that it's a 2-run home run isn't his fault. You have the ghost runner. Corey Seager's a really good hitter. He hit a pitch out the other way that I don't even think was that bad of a pitch, despite me criticizing the not walking him. Then he gets Simeon and Garcia out. I mean, it's so tough for me to break down how guys throw in extra innings there because in a normal inning, it's 3-2 and the Mariners win that baseball game. And hey, Corey Seager got Vargas. It happens. But it was a tying home run. So I can't say Vargas pitched well, but I don't think he was. It's like Munoz the last 2 days. I don't think these guys were just awful. I think it's just what makes extra innings now with the ghost runner so difficult. And then Trent Thornton deserves a ton of credit. Honestly, outside of the Arizona debacle, since he's come back from the IL, he's actually thrown the ball pretty well. He has been a good reliever the last couple of years. Is he a dominant back-end ace? No, but he's fine. And he's pitched more of that guy that's fine here in his last few outings, which is good to see because I do think this team could use some bullpen help. And obviously you can go outside the organization and get that. There's going to be guys at the deadline that are available. But if you can get that in-house with Bizzardo and Trent Thornton, all the better, right? Just makes it that much easier when you have to make a move or if you don't necessarily have to make a move. Thornton's still not back in like the, oh my gosh, I trust Trent Thornton now type mode, but that was a gutsy dog type performance from Trent Thornton, and he deserves a lot of credit for it. 2 innings, no hits, 1 run on the sac fly that wasn't even hit. It's not an earned run. 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. Great job today by Trent Thornton, a well-deserved W. And you got to feel good for guys when they've been kind of scuffling all year when they can contribute. Same with Garver, and we'll talk about him in a minute today too. So great job by the pitching staff. I know the Rangers offense has not been good this year, but in a game where they were used a lot, I thought all three starters were fairly decent. Gilbert lost it a little bit in the sixth, but Wu was fantastic. Castillo, like I said, was fantastic today. Gutsy performance today from the veteran. And then the bullpen was just nails all series for the Mariners. Really was. I mean, I get it. Munoz wasn't great yesterday. They weren't perfect, but I thought they really stepped up and did some big things. And the guys today really stepped up when you didn't have your relief aces. Let's move into the lineup today. Oh, and Castillo threw 100, like I said, 106 pitches, 66 for strikes. Mariners collect 13 hits, 5 walks, so 18 base runners again. Some extra innings to do that, but still, I mean, despite struggling against Jack Leiter, they did a good job on the Rangers bullpen, especially in extra innings there. So, again, like the Mariners do find a way to put up some runs. They sometimes still, even when they do it, make it frustrating. But I mean, the numbers would tell you the offense has been good. I certainly get it, right? And I've criticized them. They can be frustrating. They were frustrating again today. Like I said, Jack Leiter did throw the ball well, but he has not been great this year. Kumar Rocker, I thought, threw the ball well yesterday, has not been great this year. But, it's they still find a way, right? They still put up 6 runs. They found a home run today. You look at the box score, and it was a decent day for the offense up and down. I still think they're just missing a couple hits with runners in scoring position, but that's the difference. That's not the difference between like, oh my gosh, thank goodness a run. It's the difference between a breakout game, right? Like Friday night, they scored 7 runs. It was just frustrating because you felt like they could have had 13 or 14. Today, not quite that level, but they definitely probably could have had 8 or 9 runs today for sure. Yesterday, the opportunities weren't quite there as much for them. But today they definitely could add more, but they still, find a way. JP was 1 for 5, probably the only guy just kind of had like a rough road trip, I think, overall, but did get a hit in today's game. Julio had 3 hits. Again, Julio always seems like kind of the microcosm of the team. 3 for 6 with a run scored, solid game. But his 2 at-bats with runners in scoring position, he didn't get a hit. And I think that's kind of where, like, hey, the offense is good, but it's frustrating. And that kind of sums it up right in there a little bit. I mean, I can't be mad at Julio in a game where he went 3 for 6, 3 hard hit singles, a solid game. But in the 2 biggest at-bats, he didn't get it done. So it's just kind of like, it's the Mariners a little bit with when you are frustrated with their offense. Cal Raleigh was 1 for 4 with 2 walks on base 3 times. Honestly, Cal, kind of another example of that today. Let's be honest. Cal had some big at-bats with runners on and did not come through. Still found a way to reach base 3 times. Yes, it's intentional walks, but he's getting intentionally walked because of how good he's been. So he deserves credit for those. And Cal's kind of falling into that, with how much, the power's been there. He's starting to have those games where he's getting walked so much now that even when he's not dialed in, and I don't think Cal was really dialed in this series, but I think he was on base 3 times each game in this series. And I don't feel like he had a very good series. Just shows you how much respect he's getting from opposing staffs and opposing pitchers and teams on the year. Luke Raley, a little bit of a tough game. 0 for 4, did have a walk. I thought that bunt was going to be a base hit. Luke Jackson made a great play. Randy had a solid game, 2 for 5 with the walk on base 3 times. Got the party going a couple times with base hits. I think he was the one that scored the first run. His base hit was scored on Garver's base hit. And then he had the base hit in the 12th inning, which got the winning rally started. Canzone was 0 for 3, did hit the ball hard all 3 times, and he was like kind of out in front of the ball, and he still hit it to the warning track. Just shows the power he's got and just making so much better contact. The at-bats are so much better from Dom. Solano 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs, had a base hit, which scored a run in the 10th, I believe. And then the ground out scored the run in the 12th. Obviously, it wasn't hit hard or anything, but got the job done. Great game for Mitch Garver, 3 for 6, 4 RBIs. He had the first RBI in the 6th. He had what I thought would be the game-winning hit in the 10th. Then he does have the game-winning home run in the 12th inning. Fantastic game for Mitch Garver. This is why I continue. I know I've gotten some flack for it, that I've kind of been defending Garver. It's not that I'm frustrated at times. He has not been amazing or anything, but he's been pretty good behind the plate defensively. He's worked well with the pitching staff. Those are 2 big things. If you just ditch him for Harry Ford, there's no guarantee that Ford's going to have that same, what's the word I'm looking for? Like working relation. That's not what the word I'm looking for, but continuity with the pitching staff that Garver has. That's going to be a tough thing that they're going to have to work with. And Garver's bat has been a lot better of late. And as a backup catcher, 679 OPS, it's fine. Like it is. It really is. It's not bad at all. And 3 home runs on this road trip for Garver. I think he had a couple doubles as well. So now 5 RBI, or excuse me, 5 extra base hits on this road trip. The bat may be heating up a little bit. And with Dylan Moore's struggles, I know it's going to sound weird because I don't really play the same positions, but you kind of need someone else that can hit left-handed pitching. And if Garver can get some DH at bats against lefties and swing it like he has been here a little bit. Funny enough, I think all 3 home runs have been against righties, funny enough. Or no, 2 of them were. I think one was off a lefty. Um, then he can provide some value for you. So he's been good enough that I'm not quite willing to ditch him yet at all. I think there's something in the tank there with Mitch Garver to help this baseball team downstretch, kind of the same way as Solano a little bit. You're starting to they're not perfect, but you're starting to see these guys be able to contribute, play a little bit more to the back of the baseball card. Cole Young was 1 for 5 with a double, nice opposite field double. Williamson 1 for 6. He kind of had a tough series. Got a base hit, but had some crucial at bats where he didn't quite come through. I'll still defend Williamson, that I think he has helped, but I'd like to see the bat just get going a little bit. He's so average driven because he doesn't walk a ton and not a lot of extra base hits. 254 is not a terrible batting average by any means, but you'd love to see it for a guy like Williamson, like 275. I think if he can do that, he's going to help you. But right now, just not doing it. But we've seen him be streaky. Wouldn't shock me come home tomorrow and he's 3 for 4, and then boom, he's up to that 270 really quickly there. So, but still team getting offense, finding ways to get it done here. Didn't see Polanco the last 2 games. Like I said, I thought we could have seen him a couple pinch hitting opportunities. The fact they let Luke Raley hit against some lefties shows you where Dylan Moore's kind of in the doghouse now, which honestly, rightfully so. I can't get on them too much for that. Great win for the Mariners. Absolutely needed it. Really solid road trip, 6-4. They still got 7 games to go till a day off. Really tough. You would love to have that day off tomorrow, give everybody a chance to recuperate, enjoy this victory. But they're going to have to come out and play a Royals team that's not great, but pesky enough. They're really good at run prevention. Their offense isn't great, but we've seen them be feisty, right? They just put the ball in play, and sometimes that can wreak havoc on you. So it's going to be a tough series. You do have Kirby going. You'll have Hancock it's a 4-game series, isn't it? You'll have Hancock, Logan Gilbert, and Brian Wu, so you feel pretty good about that. But now, again, you haven't had that day off, so now these guys they're pitching on normal rest, but they haven't had like one break in there at all. The good news is I actually don't think the bullpen's in terrible shape because you'll have Spire, Brash, Munoz. Vargas will probably be down tomorrow. Bizzardo probably down. Thornton probably down, but Legumina might be able to give you an inning tomorrow. Burgos available. Haven't seen him yet. Might have seen him if that game went to the 13th, but didn't need it. You don't want him making his debut in those spots unless you absolutely have to. So I don't think they're in terrible shape, but you do worry a little bit now coming home with a little bit of, call it jet lag, but just fatigue here. And that was it really was a good road trip. I mean, they went to Chicago, a good Cubs team in Wrigley, won 2 out of 3. Would have loved to see them win the Twin Series after winning the first 2, but a split is fine. And they got a series win in Texas. We all would have signed up for 6-4 before this road trip. If we're going to still be frustrated with the team, it really does. You look back on it and you go, well, where's the frustration? Why are we mad? Blue Jays series, swept at home. Nationals, that makes you 1-5 between those 2. Orioles, that's 1-8. Angels series in Anaheim, that's 2-10. D-backs, 2-13. That's where that's where they're letting you down. That's the 15 games right there. You make that 5-10, which is still not good, and this team is sitting at 46-37. We'd probably be sitting there going, okay, what are you going to do for the postseason? Because they'd feel pretty locked in. Now, again, ifs and buts, all that stuff, right? Like, they didn't win those games. And then maybe they don't win these series here. So who knows? It can all even out in the end. But even if they lost today, this road trip wouldn't have been necessarily the problem. This was a tough road trip, and even coming out at 5-5 would not have been a terrible thing at all. They're doing the big picture stuff right in terms of they're stepping up in some of these tough series, but they've got to take care of the teams they should beat. Kansas City, you'd love to say win 3 out of 4. I'll look at that Pittsburgh series, though. That's the one. If you can split Kansas City, sweep Pittsburgh. You're not going to face Paul Skeens in that series. They did just sweep the Mets, so I don't want to get arrogant about it. It's not an arrogance thing. It's not me going, oh, Pittsburgh stinks, we should sweep them. I'm saying this team's got to step up and win the series they should be winning. If you can split with Kansas City and sweep Pittsburgh, you're 5-2, 48-42, pretty good mark. Then you go to Detroit, New York. That's a tough one, but if you can go 3-3 there, that's totally fine. That's absolutely fine. In fact, I would give it to me now. I'll take that. Give me the 3-3. So they've done that okay. They've got to take care of business against the teams they need to take care of business against. Enough losing series to those teams. Now, Toronto's defense, they've actually played pretty good baseball. But even there at home, you shouldn't be getting swept. If you lost the series, so be it. You shouldn't be getting swept. Arizona's not a bad team. Can't get swept there. Got to beat the Angels in a series. Got to beat Baltimore and Washington in a series. Got to beat Pittsburgh in a series, right? Even Kansas City, 4 games tough, but I'd say you got to beat them in a series. You did it to Texas, right? It's not a nail in Texas's coffin. That's a deflating series loss for the Rangers. They went into this thing, they've got a chance to get right back in. Had they swept, they'd be ahead of you in the standings, feeling pretty good despite all their struggles, that they're right there in a wild card spot. And you took care of business. You didn't bully them or anything like that. You played 3 close games, you won 2. But you did make a little bit of a statement going in there. And another key thing the Mariners have done, actually, the last few weeks, 3-0 against Cleveland. So unless you get swept by them, you're probably going to have the tiebreaker over Cleveland. I think with Boston, they have the tiebreaker because it goes by division record when you're head-to-head. And I think the Mariners have the better division record. So you've got the tiebreaker against Boston, I think, for now. I mean, that could change. You have it against Minnesota. You just clinched it against Texas. You have it against the Angels, actually, despite this 3-2. You're 3-2 against them. So you are in good shape here. Toronto, you don't have the tiebreaker. Tampa, you haven't played yet. But these tiebreakers will matter, right? Like it could come back to be a big benefit for the Mariners at the end of the year with no more game 163. So we'll see how it plays out. Nice road trip for the boys. Castillo, gutsy performance. Thornton, Garver stepped up. Come back home. Let's see if we can keep the momentum going, get a Kirby W tomorrow, and start this home stand off the right way. We got the 4th of July coming up and everything, so it should be a fun week of baseball. It's getting serious now, right? We're past the halfway point. We're approaching the 4th of July. There's no more, early in this season and, you just got to bounce back. Nope. Time to step up. That's why I'm happy with guys like Garver and Solano. They're stepping up as we get into the dog days here, right? Time for everybody to step up. Time for this team to go on a run and play some postseason baseball. Take care, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, go Mariners. Peace.